Hey everyone, it's Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review for a movie I finally got a chance to watch this weekend. I wanted to rent it on Prime instead of buying a physical copy, so I did that. It was cheaper. Tron Ares. This is a brand new Tron film, 15 years after the, 2010 release of Tron Legacy. I just saw both Tron films for the first time ever last year in 2025. And the thing is, I hate the original. I watched Tron Legacy first because it just was one that appealed to me. I found a copy first out in the wild, and I loved Legacy. I thought it was absolutely revolutionary, man. It's so ahead of its time. It's a little slow as a movie plot, but the actual film itself, the special effects, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe how long it took me to get around to this after hearing people around me, like my childhood best friend, rave about the movie. Ever since it came out, basically. Anyway, I got on the Tron train, even though I hated the first Tron, you know. And last year, we started getting, trailers and stuff saying, hey, Tron Ares is coming out. And I was upset with the fact that it probably wasn't going to have much to do with Tron Legacy from all those years ago. Turns out it really doesn't have much to do with that, but it was hoping to have what I think it wanted, which was more sequels, maybe a trilogy based around Tron Ares, that could tie back to Legacy, because there's a lot of references to that. There are pretty much no characters from that in this movie, just so you know. I was really excited for this, to be honest with you. There were things I was worried about, and then there were things that I was really excited about. And both of those things sometimes turned out bad and good. And I guess I can go ahead and talk about the actual story of the movie, just so you know up front, if there's anything I'm getting wrong about this movie, as I try to tell you the very basic, spoiler-free plot, just know this movie is not as... It has more in common plot-wise with the original Tron, because it's so confusing and messy as a story, in the way it's told, matter of fact. It's not that easy to follow along with. This is a great example of a film that's breaking the mold of what a Disney film usually does, and I have to admire them for that, to be honest with you. The writer's one of the writers from the Daredevil Born Again TV show, so there's a little bit of a brain to it, and this film is not stupid, to be honest. There's nothing political in here. I'm very impressed with that part of it. I know we shouldn't even have to even go out of our ways to say something like that, but I feel like you basically have to now, because of the casting choices, particularly with the lead, Jared Leto here. I was worried about him, and I gotta be honest, I thought this was one of his better performances I had seen. As weird as that is to say, if you've seen the movie, that's probably weird to say too, but I thought he was genuinely kind of good. I thought this film was better than something like Morbius, where they made him into a goofball. Jared Leto is not a bad actor. He just keeps picking bad project after bad project and shoving himself into bad projects. Despite whether you think he's controversial or not, I thought he did a decent job here, to be honest. But the movie, back to the plot, it's super messy. It's a little hard to follow, not gonna lie. Just like the original Tron, but this is way more engaging. Legacy is still the best, easily. But getting to the plot of this movie, Tron Ares is essentially about two companies that they took almost a lot and stole a lot from Flynn's, the old character from the first two films. The son from Legacy, Jeff Bridges' son, he's not in this movie. He's referenced, but he's not in the movie itself. But these other two companies rise up, and they basically keep stealing things from Flynn's old company, but also from each other. One is called Incom. I believe it's the one with the Asian girl kind of leading that company. I'll talk more about her in a moment. And then there's the other one that I could not remember the name to save my life, and it's actually run by Evan Peters, and his mom played by Gillian Anderson from X-Files. And I love Evan Peters. I love Gillian Anderson, despite my current thoughts about X-Files as I go back and try to watch it for the first time, all the way through. I love both of them, though. Evan Peters is one of the best actors walking around on the earth right now. Love that guy. He doesn't get a whole lot to work with here, but there's kind of setups that maybe he'll have even more to do in the future. I was excited about that. But anyway, there's kind of a war between these two corporations. Evan Peters builds kind of an antivirus, if you will. A master control program is what they're called. and he has to build it and train it up and whatever, and that is the Jared Leto character, who has like a sidekick, not really a sidekick, but like a partner in crime in the digital world that's kind of Tron-based, but kind of not, I guess. By the way, there is no reference to the character Tron. He's even more completely forgotten than he was in Legacy, which is okay with me. I don't really care, but I think it's weird to keep calling these Tron. But Jared Leto has like a sidekick buddy named Athena. I think she's in something, and I cannot remember her to save my life. She's a bald-headed black chick. But Jared Leto, you get to watch him kind of go from being just a computer program that has the dead look in his eyes to becoming more self-aware as the movie goes on, whether it be in the beginning of the film when he's doing the training program and you're catching his face make just the faintest expression that seems more human, even though he's a digital program. I think he does a good job. And to help with that, they kind of make him look fake sometimes by doing like not really so much a de-aging, but maybe it's that as a special effect. I really thought that was clever. There's a lot of things in this film that are clever that I don't think got enough love when I saw reviews for this, obviously before seeing it this past weekend. And essentially, Jared Leto's character, Ares, he becomes so self-aware, and Evan Peters begins to have people like him and vehicles and stuff brought into the physical world, very much like the end of Legacy when Olivia Munn was brought into the physical world with Jeff Bridges' son's character. Is his name Sam? I can't remember his name to save my life. I've only seen the movie one time, like I said, last year. But whoever that son character was, they're trying to figure out, though, how come Jared Leto and, Athena and vehicles and stuff, Evan Peters is trying to figure out how come when they bring them into the real world, they only have 29 minutes before they completely dissolve into a bundle of ash, because they're not real physical objects or people. And that's kind of a big part of this movie. And I know that sounds like a really dull plot, but it's also a corporate battle. You know, there's a lot of moments, probably like 30, 40 minutes into the film, where they have to go after the Asian girl that runs the other company. I think it's called Encom, like I said, the competitor company, because she reports them. and all of that I didn't even know about. I had to go on Wikipedia and make sure I understood what happened with her. And even though it was kind of vague, the movie is kind of vague about stuff like that. But anyway, they have to come into the real world to go out and catch her. And that 29-minute time limit, you wouldn't think that would work as well as it does. You wouldn't think that would be as thrilling as it actually is. It works. It works really well. And Encom, somehow, by stealing info back and forth with Evan Peters' company, they have actually brought, I think it was a peach tree, if I remember. It's been a few days now. They brought some kind of fruit tree into, like, the Antarctic by using the same type of machinery, one that they built, but theirs didn't break down after 29 minutes. And so there's a thing called the permanence code that Evan Peters is trying to steal from their company, and at one point there's like a cyber war to get in there and get that info before she reports them. The Asian girl reports them. I can't remember her name to save my life anyway. I'm not trying to be racist or anything. She's decent as an actress in here, by the way. I wish she had more to work with. I feel like they're setting up more for her to do, but you still needed something more here for her to do as a character. They do some cool background story stuff, like sad stuff, with her having a sister who died of cancer, I believe. That stuff was really touching to me, but they didn't give this character enough reaction to that, to me personally. And she has like little side friend characters that aren't the best either. You know, they're kind of annoying, to be honest. The one in particular that hangs out with her the most is kind of annoying. But anyway, this permanence code thing and the whole war that happens with Jared Leto in the digital realm with Athena, fighting against this Asian girl's company. At one point, one of the people in this little battle shootout thing in the digital Tron realm gets unmasked, and it's Cameron Monaghan. And he's a big actor, and Mike from Red Letter Media brought this up. Cameron Monaghan is a great actor. I really like him. He's in the Star Wars Jedi, whatever they are, games that come out now. Oh, God, what are they? I started the first one. I haven't finished it yet. I think he was the same guy who played the Joker on the Gotham TV show that was so good. I love Cameron Monaghan. I hope he gets more parts. I hope that we get at least one more sequel to Tron Ares. I think the film bombed, though. I don't see it doing that. But I'm sad about that, because I wanted more. I still want more. I want improvements in a lot of areas, but I want more for this. But anyway, yeah, you have little, people like him and Gillian Anderson showing up in here, and that's really nice as side characters. So anyway, this is a really messy movie, and it's hard to follow, and I can see why audiences didn't like it. I think Legacy is super easy to follow for the most part. It's just the pacing of that film that I think audiences didn't like. But again, I think Legacy is ahead of its time. This feels like Tron made now, which is an insult and also not. The pacing issues, all of that, are current day issues with movies that are not just Tron Ares in this case. But moving along, though, I think the film is beautifully shot. I love the world for, where Ares lives in the digital system for his company, Evan Peters' company, where it's like red and black everywhere. It's beautiful. It's really genuinely beautiful with, the red lightning over the sky in the digital realm and stuff. A lot of this film, like I said, is brought into the real world for fighting. I don't know how other people feel about that. There's a lot of, really awesome spaceships flying around and really awesome vehicles driving around on the streets and destroying regular Earth, where me and you live. But then you have, these goofy flight suit things that look like Buzz Lightyear wings, almost, that are like a triangle that you stand in, and you stand up and fly forward, almost like a flying squirrel, I guess you could say. I don't really like those all that much. There's some really cool things done with those. One in particular, a scene with a fighter jet from the military. Bro, they do so many cool things with the when you're playing Tron, the video games, and you have your speed bike or whatever it is. What is that thing called? A light cycle, I think is what it's called. The light beam thing that comes out of the back of your light cycle in the games. If you play them, there's only a couple. They utilize those light beam things so well in this movie, and there's so many great set pieces that you think would be really repetitive, but they're not. They do some really cool stuff with that I enjoyed, especially with the fighter jet scene I just mentioned. They kind of make it clear that those are not laser beams. I mean, you could say they are, but they're more of a physical object, like a wall that builds up. And we know that from the games, but you also just assume it's like a laser that would disintegrate things that run into it. No, it's like an actual wall. There's just a lot of creativity here, and it makes me sad to think that the director, who did a solid job, even though the script wasn't amazing, it was quite messy, quite confusing, quite a bit. The director did a good job. Again, Jared Leto did a good job. The young Asian girl, she did a solid job as a performance. I wish they would have given her more humanity to work with, but don't make this into a Marvel film, which I think I worried about at first, that maybe that was what this movie was going to be. But it wasn't, surprisingly enough. There's amazing special effects in here. I would say that the scope of the film and the sequences written are not strong enough to make the special effects here as valuable and important and well done as something like Legacy, but compared to things you see nowadays, I would say that I liked it way more than the majority of film special effects use now. I know that sounds crazy, but I believe that firmly. Compared to a lot of new Marvel films, like I just watched Captain America, Brave New World, or whatever it's called, the terrible Falcon movie, Falcon Cap. I just watched that 2 weeks ago. I reviewed it here on the channel for you guys out there. And it was awful. The special effects were embarrassing. And to have something like Tron Ares come out and to not have people... Again, I'm not saying they needed to rave about the film, but to not hear them talk more in depth about how impressive this was special effects-wise, it's crazy to me. But the real heavy hitter here that I've got to rave about some... The thing that was advertised in the trailer back in the day when it came out last year that I was so thrilled about was that Nine Inch Nails was going to do the soundtrack. And I have to tell you, that is the best part of the film. As much as I love the special effects, as much as I was impressed with a lot of the film's, setup and the way it's designed for the digital world and stuff, that was the best thing about this movie. It is one of the best scores I've heard in years for movies. Ever. in years and years and years, man. Probably all the way back to Tron Legacy and Guardians of the Galaxy, to be honest with you. I was shocked by this. I could not believe how perfect the soundtrack is for this film. It is the thing that brings value to this movie most. It is the pulse of this film. I've always said that for years, that a great movie will a lot of the time use the score and music to bring the movie to life and keep it alive. I've said this again and again, and this is a great example of that. If this movie did not have either, a Daft Punk soundtrack like Tron Legacy did, even though that was a good movie, a really great movie to me, this is a mediocre film with an amazing score that keeps it going and keeps you wanting to be interested, because when the really crazy scenes, like especially in the finale, I really love that final fight in the movie. I think it's fantastic. Leto kills it there, to be honest with you. And the director does too, sorta. That music, I just couldn't believe how good it was. It just accompanies everything that happens here so well, and I love it for that. So anyway, applause to Nine Inch Nails. If you're here to watch a giant music video for an amazing Nine Inch Nails score, watch the movie for that. I'm telling you, it is worth every dime just for that. I'm going to be honest with you guys, this review is a little too long, but I'm going to tell you up front, I liked this enough. I don't know how often I would rewatch it, but I liked it enough, I think I'm going to buy a physical copy of it to have in my collection. Because I could see myself, unlike the first Tron film, because I hate it so deeply. And by the way, there's a lot of references to that in here. That was really good. Sometimes nonsense, but it was good. It made me smile, even though I hate the original Tron film. I reviewed that. I hate it. I think I'll be watching this and Tron Legacy, but especially Tron Legacy, over and over and over again. I enjoyed this. I really want to see it through again so I can get more grasp on some things maybe I missed here and there because of how messy the storytelling is. I hope we get more in the case of being within this storyline, because I like what they do by the end of it. I don't think everybody's going to like it, but I did. I don't see us getting more. I'm pretty sure the movie flopped enough that it ain't happening, but I'm sad about that, to be honest. Because I want more of this. So anyway, Disney make more, is what I'm saying. So when it comes to Tron Ares, did you guys love it? Did you watch it? Did you hate it? I'd love to hear whatever you have to say about it. Am I the only person who got super confused with this really simplistic story? Tron does not have the most over-the-top, complex stories ever. It's just how they're told. They should be simpler, but they're not, because the technical kind of technological aspect to these movies, they try to make them seem smarter than they actually are. And yet, they're still confusing. You're still walking out not knowing people's names a lot of the time. Except for Ares in this case. Which is why I keep calling everybody Evan Peters, Gillian Anderson, and Asian Girl. It's not good to do that. Your film needs to be better than that. But I like this. I think it was a little bit above average for me. I liked it. I had a better time with this than I have with a lot of films I've seen this year. Older and newer, to be honest. So yeah, I might buy a physical copy of this. Anyway, let me know your thoughts about Tron Ares down below. What would you do with a part 2 or a part 2 and 3? What would you do with all this stuff? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Did you like this more than Legacy? I'd love to hear all that down below too. I doubt you do, but if you do, I'd like to hear it. Anyway, thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.